Okay, hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first new makeup releases going on the wishlist or not of 2019. I did have a break last week from this series, itchy, because it was like the day before New Year's Eve and I had a bunch of other videos that I wanted to get up, so I took a bit of a break, but now we're back. But I have like good news and bad news. Good news is that I am not gonna be one of those YouTubers that stops putting up videos in January because there's no AdSense in January. That is basically the reason why a lot of people take breaks in January. It's because there's no money in January. But I love filming and I love putting up videos, so I am gonna have as much videos as I have had before December in January as well. It's gonna be like 4 to 5, sometimes maybe even 6 videos a week. My goal is 4 to 5 though. But bad news is that due to some bad planning from my part, there's not going to be a new makeup releases going on the wishlist or not next week. I know I took a week of break and then I came back and then I'm taking a week break again. So not like a week break from filming, because I'm still going to have videos up. It's just not going to be this video next week because we are actually going to Rome. We're going to Rome next week, just like a long weekend. But I'm actually busy from like Wednesday until I get home on late Sunday, so I'm not going to be able to film this. If I were to film this, I'll have to film it on Tuesday, and it just feels like that's not enough time to get some new like releases in, so we're taking a week break again. I'm sorry, I'm still gonna have videos and I have filmed my favorite lip products of 2018 and I'll have that up next Sunday instead. I think that was everything, like just some housekeeping. I did film this look as well. It is with these... No respect. It is with the Affinity palette by Certified. That's also coming up real soon. I'm just trying it a bit more before I review it, but I did do this berry look. What am I doing? Please stop. I did do this berry look and it's coming up soon on my channel, just so you know. I think that was everything. You know what? I think we have so many things to talk about, so I don't even know if I am going to be able to talk about everything that I have saved in my folder for this week. There might be some things that we're gonna have to save. As always, I'm gonna start with the more bigger mainstream brands and then I'm moving into the smaller indie brands. I do mention some indie brands in the big brand section because there are some really big indie brands and I try to keep them with the bigger brands like Dose of Colors or Juvia's Place or Lime Crime. Is Lime Crime still an indie brand? I actually don't know, but brands like that, I try to keep them in the like the big mainstream brands. I am on a low buy, so I don't want to buy anything, to be honest. Is there anything this week that I am interested in? Is there anything that I'm like, oh yeah, I really need that? Yeah, one thing. There is one thing where I'm like, ooh, I really want that. Oh yeah, 2 things. But one thing is, oh, maybe 3 things. There's 3 things that I really, really want, but 2 of them are not being released for a while, so we're in luck, if we can call it that. Let's scooch to the side. Am I in frame somewhat? Why am I sitting on my... Wait. Struggle bus. Let's start with this one. This... I have no idea what Urban Decay is doing, but their, like, releases haven't been going over so smoothly lately. It's been, like, sneak peeked from... Lord knows where, I have no idea, but this is apparently the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded. I mean, nobody's surprised that there is not a naked palette. I mean, they did discontinue the naked one, and I mean, there was a 99.9% chance that they were going to release another neutral palette instead of that one. I just kind of figured it would be more, I don't know, current than this one. And the thing is that a lot of people are saying that this is boring, and yet they really love the Anastasia Sultry palette. This is basically the Anastasia Sultry palette, and if you think the color scheme of the Sultry palette is okay, you kind of have to like the color scheme of this one. It's the same thing. It's another Dead Tree palette. It's just that I think that people like Anastasia more, and they like the quality of Anastasia more, and I totally get that, like, that's totally fine, but when 2 palettes are coming out with the exact same color scheme, you can't say that one's boring and one's spectacular, because, like, it's the same. You can say that you prefer the Anastasia formula, I totally get that, but they're both, like, Dead Tree palettes, and this is it for me. I I don't think that anyone's copycatted anything because doing a palette takes a lot of time, and this was probably in the works way before the Sultry was released. But I do feel like Urban Decay, they're too late to the party all the time, and that's why I feel like they maybe either they need to step it up, like they have to release things faster, or maybe they need to stop trying to be like, what are people gonna like? What has been popular lately? What has been trendy lately? Stop thinking like that, because you're always doing it wrong. Instead, you should be like, what trend do we want to see? Because I feel like that's what Urban Decay used to be. They're just so predictable. They're so predictable. And a brand named Urban Decay, I mean, it's more like suburban housewife. I don't get it. I don't get the releases. And I put in some swatches. I'm just gonna find it on the phone. These are swatches on what seems to be a medium to dark skin tone, and they look shocky. And they're so light. Why are they all so light? I feel like this has been something with palettes a lot lately, where it's just been light and medium tone colors, and there's nothing in the deep spectra. And is that what people want? I don't want that. Is that what people want? I don't get this. I think it's super predictable, super boring, and that's just me speaking. I think that this is boring, but I thought the Sultry palette was boring as well. If you like the Sultry palette, maybe you'll like this one. I honestly, I just don't know. I'm not the right person. It's an all neutral palette with a corally peachy thing. It's not for me. If you love neutrals, maybe you'll love this. I just think they're a bit late to the party, and I think that they need to be more ahead than they are right now. The next thing I want to talk about is something that's been revealed the last couple of days, and this is the collaboration between Physicians Formula and Casey Holmes. I am not subscribed to Casey Holmes here on YouTube. It's basically because she does a lot of makeup looks that doesn't really inspire me, you know, neutrals and warm neutrals, and that's just not really my cup of tea. I think she seems like a super sweet person, and I know she's very well loved here on YouTube. So I'm nothing against her or anything like that. It's just I don't watch her. I will say though that I don't like bulky things, and there's so much dead space, and why is there a perfume in here? Some things here you are gonna use up a lot faster than others, aka the perfume, and then you're just gonna have a dead spot. I think that this would have been better as the what is it called? The Benefit and Desi collab, when they did like a box and it had the separate things in here. I think the lipstick and the perfume should have been like the bigger box could have contained smaller boxes with those two, because you don't want to have those in a palette. You don't want to have a lipstick and a perfume in your palette. You don't. I don't know anyone who thinks that that is a good idea. So like 1/3 of the palette is just going to be dead space with 2 holes in it, and then just 4 tiny eyeshadows at the bottom and so much dead space. I'm borderline cringing seeing this, because I don't know. I'm not the biggest Physicians Formula fan all over. I like their products. I think they're okay. I hate the smell of them. So me getting a perfume with that smell, well, that's not happening. I like that there's a pop of green in here. These are not the kind of colors that I'm drawn to. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity, because this could have been really cute if this was like a small face palette with those 3, and then just a mini quad and a lipstick and a perfume, and it was just in a gift set instead, all separate. I think people would have gone crazy over that, but just all together like this, I don't know if that was the best of decisions. I also want to talk about this one. I'm slightly confused by this. It seems to be round 2 of the Bésame and Disney Peter Pan Mermaid Lagoon thing. But isn't this the same? I looked at this eyeshadow palette and I'm like, wasn't this the first palette? I'll try to put up some... I'm sorry, editing Angie, you're gonna hate me. I'm very sorry. I'm gonna put up a picture here of the round 1 so we can see some differences, but... Are these really different? The only thing where I see like, oh yeah, that's different, is the lipsticks, because they're very pink. Or is... I'm confused. Are these different? I'm guessing they are round 2. I don't remember round 1 being that different from this one. Maybe that's just me. Oh, I want. Every year there is a new like year of the insert animal here from like the Chinese New Year's, and now it is the 2019 Lunar New Year edition from Hourglass Cosmetics. It's the Ambient lighting blush in with a pink. This color is beautiful. It's like a super warm coral and mauve marble thing. This is a beautiful color. I'm sure that this would look beautiful on a lot of different skin tones, and I actually love this color. This color is beautiful. I'm guessing it's gonna be limited edition, but I do think that this color actually brings something to the range. It's absolutely stunning. I hope they will keep the color because that color is stunning. Natasha Denona is coming out with a new mini diamond and glow diamond powder and duo glow highlighter. Now in a mini version. Oh yeah, the duo glow, there's supposedly a mix between the highlighter and the blush, which is something that I love. I've been wanting to swatch one of those in stores for so long, but I just haven't found them in stores so that I can swatch them. I think this is a great idea, but I have heard that the mini versions of her palettes and face products are not the same as the regular big version, and that is the same as the Benefit small ones as well. They're not supposedly the same formula either. I just don't know how people are supposed to get on with your brand if you're selling them something not as good in a small version. But maybe she has learned her lesson and now they are better. I just feel like maybe before picking these up, you should check some reviews of people that have tried both to see if they're corresponding to each other, because there is a big chance/risk that these are actually not the same formula as the big one. Other than that, I think they look beautiful, and that, like the dual glow thing, the blush and highlighter mix, that is something that I really want to look into, because I love using a very glowy blush and just using it as a blush and highlighter duo. That is something that I really like. What else do I want to talk about? Well, there's so many things that I could talk about. Let's talk about this one quickly. This is a new palette by e.l.f. I really like that e.l.f. is just doing some colorful things. This is a typical one of those half colorful, half neutral palettes that I've been talking about that I think is going to be really big this year. Here's another example of a palette like that. I will say though that this has the same issue as the other palette that I showed before, that there's no dark shades. There's only light and medium shades and there's no dark shades. And personally, things that make me fall in love are super shimmery metallic shades or really dark yummy mattes. Those are the kind of shades that I love. So I wouldn't pick up a palette like this because it's lacking what I'm looking forward to using. This one I've been tagged in so many times. This is the Viseart Koi eyeshadow palette. This is already available. This is their regular size 12 pan eyeshadow, and this only has, what is this? It's the crystalline formula. It is limited edition for spring, and I think that this is very expensive. I think this is one of their like $80 palettes, and I want to try Viseart so bad, but I don't know if I can spend $80 on an all shimmer palette from a brand I haven't tried. I don't know. This is one of the things that I would like to see in real life before buying it, and there is nowhere that you can buy Viseart in stores in Sweden, or in stores. Where can you buy Viseart? I really don't know. I wouldn't buy this on a whim. It's too expensive for something that I haven't tried before, for something that I haven't even seen before. And I'd rather have a mix of mattes and shimmers. But I do think it looks really pretty, and all of the swatching pictures makes it look super amazing. It's just too expensive for me to spend on something that I haven't seen before that is all shimmers, because I do prefer a mix. I don't think it's like, if you love that kind of formula from Viseart, I think it's a pretty spring palette. It's just not exactly what I'm looking for, and that's just how it is at times. BH Cosmetics has released a couple of new things, and I thought first we'd talk about this one. This is the BH Cosmetics Midnight City palette. It seems to be a mix of mattes and shimmers. This is a cool tone palette with a pop of coral. I'm guessing this is their version of the sultry palette. This one has a blue in it as well, and seems to have a blue matte as well. It's not for me. This could have been way smaller, but on the other hand, BH Cosmetics is very affordable, and it is a mix of shimmers and mattes, and maybe if this was something, I don't know. I'm not gonna pick that up. But they did release something else, and this has me, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. The travel series. I'm guessing that they're gonna have more things than 3, because right now it's only 3 things. It is 1 highlighter and blush palette. Wait. Yeah, there's Hanging Out in Hawaii, which is Hanging Out in Hawaii. It's an eyeshadow palette. Love in London eyeshadow palette. Blushing in Bali. It's a blush and highlighter palette. The Blushing in Bali looks amazing, and the the Love in London looks exactly like the other palette I showed you. So why are you releasing 2 palettes that are so similar to each other? I don't get that. But then it's the Hawaii palette, and I don't think of these colors when I think of Hawaii. I think of more like tropical colors. I do think of like sand and stuff like that, but I think of greenery. I've gotten the impression that Hawaii is pretty tropical and pretty green, and there is just so much brown and 1 pink, and the front of the palette is more how I see Hawaii, like tropical greens, pinks, yellows. The inside, I don't get these kind of releases. Why are you inspired? This cannot be inspired by Hawaii. This could be, I don't know, a Sahara palette? Strolling around Sahara? I don't get it. That one leaves me confused, because I don't. Does anyone need an all brown eyeshadow palette at this point? I'm confused. Speaking of things that I'm a bit confused by, there's another all brown palette being released by NARS. Skin Deep eyeshadow palette. Didn't they just release an all brown palette? I know that that was a cheek and eyeshadow palette. Was there really a market for 2? But I don't know. It's not for me. It's definitely not for me. Something else that has just been released is the new news by Milani, and I'm just gonna see if I can put up some pictures to show all of them. It is a bunch of like lipsticks and bronzers, and like bronze highlighting blush palette that seems very confusing. I personally don't mind to have more than 1 product in pans, but them being so thin at the end, I don't really know how you're supposed to use that. And then some liquid strobing things. Thing is with Milani, I like the look of Milani. The things that I've tried from Milani has been really good, but Milani is kind of expensive in Sweden. It requires a bit more thought, so it's just not an affordable brand here in Sweden. That's why I rarely get really excited by Milani, because it's not like something you just pick up a couple of things to try, like I bet you do in US or Canada, for example, but it's a lot more affordable. Here in Sweden, it's just not. It's kind of expensive. So yeah, you have to be a bit more thoughtful before you pick something up. Oh god, and editing Angie is gonna hate me. Let's talk about the new, what's it called? Venus XL2 that's coming from Line Crime. Is it already available? Wait. January 9th. Is that now? What date is today? January 9th anyways. I don't think that is yet. They started with showing this picture, saying like she's back and badder than ever. That's a lie. You'll see why soon. And it's like peachy, and she has green hair, and the font is like lime, super like bright neon green, and you're like, okay, that's awesome. And then they showed this picture, and you're like, because on the front it's like a super peachy coral with gold font, and she has lime green hair, and there's like bright oranges, and then you look at the inside and you're like, what kind of a dead fruit is that? And there's some lip glosses with it as well. I'll have them down here. The lip glosses look really, really, really pretty. All 4 of them look super amazing. But that first picture of the eyeshadows, I was like, boy, that's crusty. And then they showed this picture, and this one makes it look a bit more interesting. Not gonna lie, it looks a bit more pretty, but it's not the front. Why is the front neon green, super coral, and like orange? when the inside is like dried up herbs and the Too Faced Peachy palette. Am I the only one feeling like Lime Crime is playing it safe? Lime Crime, like Urban Decay, has been one of those brands that was like leading, like releasing things that could have been a flaw because they were so weird. And I mean, and then they showed the swatches, and the swatches, they look nice. There's a lot of greens in here, and I bet a lot of people would like these greens, but there's only one slightly dark color, and that is the last one. There's so many colors that maybe didn't need to be in this palette. Pretty repetitive, and just why is everything mid-tone? I'm not that impressed by this. And also I will say that the Venus 2, I will try and put some comparison pictures up here. Let me show you. I'm gonna put up some comparison pictures of the Venus 1 and the Venus XL1 and the Venus 2 and the Venus XL2. That's what I'm gonna put up. I am so sorry, editing Angie. It's gonna be a long night. I apologize. But look at these comparison pictures. I don't get why they're calling it the Venus 2 XL. It has nothing to do with the Venus 2. The Venus 2 has such an amazing and unique color combinations with the mustard, the blue, like, and the green duochrome. Like, why didn't they release something like that? They could have done a more bigger and better and more unique version of the subculture to go with the Venus 2. I don't feel like the Venus 2 fits in here anywhere. And I don't feel like this palette needed to be this big either, but that's just my personal preference. I know that people out there like big palettes, so I'm not like, if you do, that's totally fine. They had the best chance here to make something super unique and super fun and something to actually contribute to something that could be a new trend. Instead, they're playing it safe with this crusty herbs palette, and I don't know, it just doesn't look that appealing. Everything's so mid-range, and yeah, I don't know, it's not for me. Don't think I have that many things to talk about. Let's talk about this one though. Morphe has released concealers and foundations. Nobody's surprised, it was just a matter of time. They had to. They're releasing 60 shades, which is a lot. I can't try Morphe in stores, and there's not a lot of people that can try Morphe in stores, let's be honest, because Morphe sells all over the world and it's only available in Morphe stores and some Ulta stores, and I don't know if Ulta will have all 60 shades of the foundation. Let's be honest, I've seen how the Morphe looks in Ulta, and there's no way that they're going to be able to fit 60 foundations there. And there's also going to be 2 primers and 31 concealers and 15 powders. There's no way that there's going to be room for that in Ulta unless they make a very drastic change to how their booth thing, stand, what's it called, thing looks in Ulta. So you're gonna have to basically figure this out on your own and order it online, and that's really hard when it's 60 shades. I'm not opposed to this. I like the packaging. I like the plastic squeeze tube. I know that others like glass because it's easier to recycle, but in Sweden you can recycle plastic as well. So I actually kind of like that, and it makes it easier to store. Wait, let me see. $18 each. That's a pretty decent price. Soft matte finish, full coverage. That's not really what I'm after at this point. I have a lot of foundations like that, and I try to sheer them out all the time with like more light coverage foundations or more dewy foundations to make a mix. So I'm probably not going to pick this up, but I do commend them for having so many shades. I do think it's going to be really hard to shade match to yourself though, because you're probably going to have to do it online. Something else that has come out that has a lot of shades is Fenty is also coming up with concealers, and she's coming out with 50 concealers, but I do think that you'll be able to see these in stores though, I'm guessing, because they have all the foundations in stores, so that's probably going to be easier. From the shade matches here, it seems to be a very good variation between the light to the deep. What is the claims? Creamy, crease proof, and long wearing. That sounds nice. This is something that I will be able to go into stores and like actually look at, which is a good thing. There's also going to be some powders and new foundations in the Pro Filter foundation. some new tools like powder puffs and sponges and stuff. I think it feels like a natural next step in the Fenty line, and I'm sure that if the concealer is even somewhat good, this is going to be a huge hit. I am currently not in the market for getting any kind of concealer, so I'm not going to get that one. I know that some, like for instance, like the Milani release I just talked about, I know that they're having some concealers as well, but that's probably going to be very expensive in Sweden, so I'm personally not that excited. I know that e.l.f. is coming out with concealers as well. I do think that e.l.f. has started to actually ship to Europe now from their site, so maybe that will be easier now to try out here in Sweden and Europe. But e.l.f. is not one of the brands that I'm like super excited about. Maybe sometimes, but yeah, I wouldn't like shade match myself to a concealer and from e.l.f. and just get it. I also saw some pictures of how it looked on Ulta, and the first like shades look very grey there, so I think it's going to be really hard to shade match yourself, to be honest. Okay, speaking of pigs before, someone else that's coming out with the pig theme thing is Becca Cosmetics Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed Highlighter Year of the Pig. It seems really pretty. It seems to be a beautiful like peachy highlighter. This is not gonna arrive to Sweden, so there's no way that I'm gonna be able to try it, but it looks really pretty. But this is something that I would wanted to see also in real life, to see that if it actually is a peach highlighter with the peach sheen, I would be interested, but I won't buy it just on a whim from the internet because I'm very particular with what kind of highlighter shade I would do want to add to my collection. Something that's also been released already, let's just try and segue into the smaller brands, is the Dose of Colors lip liners and eyeliners. These look very, very pretty. The packaging looks pretty, and they do have like a colored rim on the top so you can see which color it is. This is something that I would be interested in trying because Dose of Colors formulas, from what I've tried, has never let me down, so it seems like something that I would be interested in trying. It's probably going to come to Beauty Bay. If it's not already available, I guess it's coming soon, so I would be interested in picking one of these up just to try them. I think I'm more interested in the eyeliners than the lip liners because I tend to use eyeliners every time I do my makeup, but I don't use lip liners every time I do my makeup, so I might want to try one of those up. They seem to have some really pretty burgundy shades that I'm actually somewhat interested in. Let's just try to get into some indie news. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to talk about everything because there has been so many things to reveal these 2 weeks now that it's just crazy. I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of this thing. This is the new collection by LA Splash. It's called Golden Gatsby. It is being available the 22nd of January, and I'm sure we're going to be able to see more pictures of this. But that packaging and the inspo looks beautiful. I don't think that the 20s was that like color makeup wasn't like the biggest thing, so I don't know if this is going to be colorful, but the packaging looks beautiful, and it seems to be a bunch of different things in this collection, and if I see more interesting stuff in this, I'll let you know. Also, Marlena showed this one. This is the new shadows coming late spring, early summer. From what I've understood of the brand is that she is just, I'm guessing she is discontinuing everything in the brand and just re-releasing them and reformulating. That is what I've understood from what I've heard. That might be a good thing because, I mean, the formula is great, but there has been a lot of really new and innovative and really good eyeshadow formulas being released lately, so maybe it needed to be just upped a bit, and I think that is a good thing. The lower row seems to be a lot of browns. I know you need that in the collection, but I don't need that in my collection. The upper row though, with those colorful mattes, I really like that. I love colorful mattes, and I love colorful mattes that isn't like typical rainbow palette mattes like bright green, bright red, bright blue. These are more muted but still colorful, and that berry block in the middle, that has me very intrigued. So I'm actually really interested in those colorful mattes. I think they look super pretty, and that is one of the things where I'm like, I might pick that up when I see it, because I actually think that that is really pretty. Let me see what else I got so I can organize myself before I run out of time, breath, energy. Menage Cosmetics has showed their entire line of lipsticks. They are re-releasing their liquid lipsticks. They had them with the Makeup Monsters and now with the Menage is that correct name? Yeah, I think so. With the Natasha Cosmetics, they're just re-releasing some shades and releasing some new shades from what I gather. And they are already available, right? Yeah, available tomorrow, and this picture is not from... Oh yeah, maybe they're available this day when you're seeing this. I'm not quite sure actually. Seems to be a good range of colors. 2 greens, which is pretty cool. And that yellowy beige seems very promising. I'm not gonna pick any of these up because I don't need any more liquid lipsticks at this point. I have so many lip products that I love, and the last thing I need is to add more lip products to my collection. Let's be honest, especially liquid lipsticks. Don't need any more of those. Something else that I wanted to show you, and I thought this was really pretty. This is Beauty Wide. This is their new Mirage eyeshadow palette. I think that this is pretty. This color scheme is pretty. It's like greens and cool tones. Like, this is a cool tone palette that doesn't have just browns. So if you were into having a cool tone palette, this is a cool tone palette with just a pop of warms in the middle with that pink, the peach, and the bright orange. Then just a bunch of like cool tones, and I actually think that this is really pretty, and that's why I wanted to show you, because I think this is pretty. I actually think that that is really pretty. Solar Look is also releasing... When is this coming? It doesn't say when it's coming, but this is the Solar Look and Beverly Hills 90210. I did not watch this series when I was a kid. I know a bunch of people like in my class did, and this, like, when I was a kid, it was like the prime of this series on TV, but I just didn't watch it. I'm probably putting a picture down here as well, where you can see some close-up of the shades. There seem to be some mattes and some shimmers, and it has that logo print in the pans. And if you are a big fan of Beverly Hills, I think that you probably would like something like this, because I like the touch of the imprint in the pan, and I think the colors are very, very 90s, and I like it. I don't hate it. I think it's cute, and it's more of a collector's piece, I'd say. So if you're not a fan of Beverly Hills, you probably wouldn't think that this is a cool purchase. So it's not for me, but I totally get like who it's for. But that person isn't me, but don't hate it. Don't hate it. Okay, let's end this by talking about 2 last things. Blush Tribe has, I think it's already available. No, it's available today, the day that you're watching this, on Sunday. It is the Sonia Sarin makeup artist and Blush Tribe collaboration. It is a bunch of things included in this collection. It is an eyeshadow palette, it is some lippies, it is, from what I gather, some lashes and glitters that are from Certified. So this is like a collab. She's done a collab with both brands, and you can buy it as a bundle, getting all of it, or you can buy everything separate. That's from what I gather. I don't even know. You know what? I'm not even sure. But you will see it on both their sites, I'm guessing. And I think that you can buy the bundle with glitters from Certified on Blush Tribe's site as well. The palette looks like this. This is also a cool tone palette with a pop of a coral. This is like the sultry palette, but with some greens and purples in it as well, or maybe more greens and plums, because it has that, like, the cool tone browns. And from what I've heard, Sonia is a makeup artist that specializes in like Indian and Pakistani wedding makeup, and she made the perfect palette to go for those kind of looks. And I have no idea what that makeup style is, so you're gonna have to let me know if this does resemble what you would wear at the Indian or Pakistani wedding. The owner of Blush Tribe and the owner of Certified are both from Pakistan, or at least their families. I don't know if they're born in UK or not, but I think this palette seems okay. I mean, it's not a color scheme that's made for me, because it is kind of neutral, but it is again one of those palettes that's half neutral, half colorful, and I do think we're gonna see even more palettes like this. I do like that there are actually 3 matte colorful shades as well, and if you count that yellow, I mean, there's a mustard, a peach, a dark green, and a dark like plum, or like a dark plummy red, from what you can see on the swatches here down below. I think that this has a bit more depth than we've seen from the other palettes. Like, this has some dark colors as well, and from what I've understood from the wedding makeup from Pakistan and India, it's very dramatic, right? So I do think that you could be able to do something dramatic with this. This isn't my perfect color scheme, but if I had this palette, I'm sure I would be able to make some pretty looks. Also, we have seen that Certified has showed us a mock-up picture of a new palette that she's thinking about releasing, and some of the reactions to this palette has been pretty ridiculous, because she wrote under her picture that this is photoshopped. Let me show you a picture down here. I'm so sorry, of how the Affinity palette looked in the mock-up versus how it looked in the real version, and it's right here as well. So this is how it looked once it's done. She has done this before. She just puts out a mock-up picture and she's like asking for advice, and then she either ends up doing some changes or just seeing how people feel about her mock-up palette, and then she releases it. That's her way of working. And when people are like, doesn't this look, this is so obviously photoshopped, you're like, yeah, you could read the caption. I mean, I don't know. And it even says it in the caption on Trend Mood that this is a, like, it isn't a real palette. And I'm just like, oh, it's so cringy when people are commenting before reading the caption. Although it's very common that people will comment before reading the caption or the description box here on YouTube as well. So not that surprised. It's just like, it's disappointing. Anyways, this is a palette that she's thinking about releasing. It's supposed to be the brother palette of, although I do think that a sister can have greens and blues as well. Just saying, but it's the brother palette of Affinity. I think it looks pretty. I wouldn't mind having a palette with all greens and blues. I do think though that she might not... Listen, if you are a brand that shows your ideas before you do them, there is a big risk that someone's gonna steal them. I'm just saying. There is a big risk that someone's gonna steal them and release them before you. So I would be very careful. And this is me speaking to all smaller brands who had changed batteries. Don't share your ideas too early. Somebody might steal them. I've heard some really bad stories of ideas being stolen within the makeup community. There is no thieves' honor within the makeup community. Brands will steal from you like there's no tomorrow. So don't give away ideas to brands. Like, don't do their work for them, okay? So I wish that smaller brands would realize that bigger brands do have their eyes on them, and there is a risk of your ideas being stolen. That's why I also think that indie brands shouldn't sneak peek their ideas and their swatches and their ideas for products or sneak peeks of things that are being released too early. They're gonna be stolen. Like, don't do it to yourselves. I just think that maybe just keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself, and otherwise there is a risk that someone's gonna steal them, and I would be so sad if somebody released this palette before certified. Just, I don't know. Although I will say that maybe this idea is inspired by the Tarte April Fool's thing with the blues and the greens, although these are not, this is not a dupe. I would not be sad if there is a trend with like blue and green eyeshadow palettes for 2019. I'm just saying. But yeah, let me get in the middle. I think that was everything for this week. I'm sorry if I feel a bit off. I think I need lunch. It's like, what time is it? It's already dark. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock and it's like pitch black. I think that was everything. Just let me know what you feel down below or what you think. If there's something here that you want to pick up, I know that I deliberately did not speak about some of the news that has been announced because there's just no time. I can't fit more into this episode. We'll see. Next week I'm not gonna have an episode, like I said, but there's still gonna be videos up. But in 2 weeks we'll have another episode. It's probably gonna be really long as well because there's probably gonna be a bunch of things revealed. I am interested in picking up some of these things, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to Rome next week, so I am planning to go into Sephora, and I haven't bought anything in January yet, so maybe I will buy one of my things when I am in Rome, when I am in Sephora, because I haven't visited in Sephora in probably 6 months. So I'm really excited actually to go into Sephora and to swatch some of the things. So maybe I'll buy one of my things for January if I find something. We'll see. But thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe. I do upload. I will have 5 videos next week. I've already pre-filmed all of them, so I'm already said and done. So there's not going to be a break from videos. I'm just having a bit break from this series because I won't be able to film it next week. But I will see you tomorrow for a new video, and I hope you're having a great Sunday. Bye!